What's up, everyone? It's your favorite marketer and podcast host. My name is Prit. I'm the author of 0 to 4 Figures, a marketing strategy consultant, and a digital entrepreneur. Now, a few of the roles that I do take on, I am a podcaster, I am a YouTuber, I'm an Etsy shop owner, and I'm a Skillshare teacher as well. All of the links are in the description box below if you would like to check it out. On this podcast, I shuffle between giving solo podcast episodes as well as bringing in experts to give you business, marketing, and mindset strategies to help you grow the business you love. In today's solo podcast episode, I'm going to be talking about 5 new Instagram features and some of the tips for you to implement for your Instagram business account. Okay? Now let's jump straight into it. Of course, Instagram's ever so changing, and these features are available at the time of posting this podcast episode. So just be careful of that and double check if the feature still exists. All right? Now the first one that I have noticed on Instagram is the status feature. So if you haven't noticed it or if it hasn't come to your account yet, let me explain what the status feature is. So basically, you get a limited number of characters to post as your Instagram status. It's available for 24 hours, and it is usually seen in the messages part of your Instagram page. So if you go to the messages, like the inbox, all of the people who've uploaded a status will be seen right on top, okay? This is not a picture status. This is going to be just a word status. If you have ever been on WhatsApp, then it's basically the status that you put under your profile picture. But the only difference for this is available for 24 hours. Okay? So, of course, there have been a couple of businesses who I've seen use the status feature already, and that's awesome. You know, the fact that they're really hopping on the latest trend, hopping on the latest feature, that's another good thing about Instagram. There's just so many different things changing all the time. One, it gives you a variety of ways to reach your audience. I know a lot of people say, oh, this is changing so often, but I think you can't do anything about that, right? But I think that you can at least use it to your advantage. This is another way of communicating with your audience. So let me give you a few things that you could possibly put in your status. The first thing is you could sell, okay? You could talk about your product. You could talk about what's, the awesome thing about that product. Maybe talk about the benefits, the features. Of course, you have to keep in mind that this is a limited number of characters. So as much as possible, from what I have noticed, I think you can only see maybe, I would say, 15 characters, okay? So make sure that whatever you are posting, the important stuff is in the first 15 characters, because I think beyond that you can't see, or they have to physically click your link for them to actually go and visit your entire status. So to capture their attention, it's important to make use of those first 15 characters, not words, 15 characters, okay? That includes spaces as well. All right. Another thing that you can do is you can put in your promotion. For example, you're doing a giveaway. Maybe you want to announce that. Okay, maybe you want to capture people's attention. You want them to participate. That would be another good idea for you to post. Now, for me personally, okay, I think that the selling and the promotion have to be done very rarely. Okay, I think that if you do it every single day, it's not going to benefit your audience. So do the selling maybe once a week, do the promotion whenever is necessary. So maybe once in 2 weeks where you hold your promotions, or maybe during your festival seasons, okay? I would not recommend selling and promotion all throughout the time, okay? What I do recommend is asking a question, okay? This is what I would recommend you to do every other time. Okay, for me, I believe a healthy ratio between selling and not selling should be about 3:1. So selling 1 content and then not selling 3 content. Okay, so for every 3 questions, sell 1 time. That's a healthy I would say, a balance between you selling and not selling. I'm going to repeat it. 3 posts of not selling versus 1 post of selling. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about why asking questions is so important. Now, one of the biggest challenges for Instagram business accounts, and I face this too, okay, is that it's very hard to start a conversation with the people who are following you. Am I right? You know, because every time you do reach out to them, they're always skeptical that you're probably going to sell to them. And it's natural that they expect that because you are a business account, right? So, but that also adds a layer of hesitation for them to talk to you, for them to interact with you. Now, when you ask questions as your status, what you're essentially doing is you are encouraging them to reach out to you. You are encouraging them to start a conversation with you. You are encouraging them to engage with your content. Okay? I highly recommend this trick. I highly recommend this trick because, one, I know that this is something a lot of people struggle. I do too. And one of the ways to work around it, to get them comfortable with talking to you and engaging with your brand, is this. Ask questions, simple questions, okay? Do you like flights or do you like trains? As simple as that. It not necessarily has to relate to your industry, though if it does, you can kind of check the engagement level. It really depends on your account. Some accounts, it does work. Some account, it does not work. I would say test out different kinds of content. See what works for your audience. See where you get higher number of replies, okay? And it could be simple questions. Don't have to complicate it. You could even just use an emoji, mountains as the emoji, or beaches, the wave emoji that you have in your phone, you know? As much as possible, keep it simple, but at the same time, make it engaging. Always ask questions. I'm gonna repeat this again. 3 posts or 3 statuses of not selling and 1 post of selling. That's usually a healthy balance or a healthy ratio, I would say, okay? Now, another thing that this question thing does is that it really builds a connection. It lets your audience know that you're not just here to sell, but you're also here so that they can have a good time, and you also want to build a relationship with them. Of course, I mentioned this before in my previous podcast episodes. Building a relationship builds trust. Trust builds, to some point, sales. Okay, at some point, I guess I would say, because it takes time for them to be nurtured as well. It takes time for them to be open to the idea of trusting you for providing a solution for their problem. Okay, so that was number 1, the status on Instagram. If it's not rolled out for your account, I would say be patient. It will very soon. Okay, now the second one is, let me tell you, I think it is remixing reels. Wow, I did not understand what I've written in my book, but remixing reels. Let's talk a little bit about remixing reels. Now, remixing reels is basically using someone else's reel and then adding your content to that. So in this version, you are crediting the person who has posted the original reel, and then you're adding in your thoughts or your content to piece with that. Now, I highly recommend this because, 1, it not only gives you more variety of content to put out there. Okay, some of the remixing that I've personally seen is, for example, there is someone's content that you really resonate with. You think that what they're saying is really, really good. What you can do is remix that reel, okay? Post it on your profile and give your thoughts on that piece of content. So that's additional content. That's a variety of content that you're putting for your audience as well. Not just that, it also allows you to tap into their audience as well, because now you're remixing the reels, and if people were to, click on that particular reel, they will know the amount of remixes that have been happened, and it just makes it easier for you to be seen as well. Not just that, since it's a variety of content, you never know, your audience might actually like that, okay? And when you're giving your opinion, when you are reacting to other people's content, in some way that positions you as an expert as well, okay? highly recommend remixing reels because not just that it gives you a variety of content, it also adds a personal touch to whatever content that you are sharing. Okay, so highly recommend remixing reels. Another thing is topic tags. Now, this has not yet rolled into my account yet, but I have seen other creators getting this. So what it essentially is basically, I guess if I had to say it in my version, I would say this is more of an upgraded version of keywords. Okay, so tags is basically, they will have certain topics. You add your reel according to the topic that it belongs to, and then people who are interested in that topic will find it. So like I said, this is not rolled into my account yet. I will definitely update you when it does roll into my account, but at this moment it has not rolled. I've only watched it on other people's account. This seems to be a very interesting update for me because at this point, hashtags are one way for people to find, but I think it's really nice that there's another way for people to find you as well, and that's through topic tags. Ideally, what I would recommend is taking a look at what topics exist and making your reels according to those topics, okay? That would also be a really nice way for you to see which topics have the most number of people interested in, and then you make your content based on that. That also helps you with exposure. Now, number 4 is the add yours. Now, personally, I like this because one, when you start it, a lot of people actually can see the content that you have posted. Okay, it reaches your friends of friends of friends of friends. And that's amazing to me. It's amazing how one ad yours can go viral. You never know where it starts, and then it can just go crazy. And people actually get to know your account. There is some level of exposure that happens there as well. Okay, so have fun with it. I would highly recommend start it at least once a week. Put add yours, and then what it essentially does is you create some sort of I would say an event. Okay, so for example, tag the person or show the person behind this account, and then you click a picture of yourself, and then you say add yours. And so that actually spreads. Your followers will do it, then their followers will see that, and then they will do it, and then it just spreads. Okay, so I think that's awesome, and in a way, it encourages your audience to engage with your content and physically engage. It's not just chatting with you, it's actually doing the work of putting a picture up, tagging your account, or even just putting themselves out there. And I think that really builds the connection to a much deeper level. Okay, so that was number 4 for you. Number 5 is co-author content. Now for this would probably be collaborations with people in your niche or people in similar niches or people in complementary niches, okay? So I would recommend reaching out to them, asking them if you could co-author some content. What this essentially does is when you invite them as a collaborator, this is what it's called on Instagram, not tag them, when you invite them as a collaborator, basically the content gets shown on your account and their account. So their followers can see your account, your followers can see their account. So it's a mutually beneficial collaboration in that sense. I would highly recommend this because your content, whatever you've co-authored with the other person, actually shows up on their followers' news feed as well. And I think that's amazing. The same goes the other way around. Your content with them shows up on your followers' feed as well. So that gives them exposure. I would recommend reaching out to people, like I said, in your niche or in similar niches or in complementary niches, and then trying to see if you can co-author content together. I believe this to be a really, really good way for you to, one, engage your audience, provide them a different variety of content. Not just that, it also helps you gain exposure, okay? One small tip that I would have for you at this point is look for accounts with similar follower count as you, because I think if you go for accounts with more followers, they might not be receptive to something like that. So as much as possible, look for accounts in your same follower count reach. They would be more open to kind of engage with your content and co-author with you. All right, so that's definitely one of the things that I personally really like, the co-authoring thing. I think that it's an untapped potential over there because it really shows up on the newsfeed. And it's amazing because when I see content, like as a follower, when I see content of people who I follow co-authoring with someone else, it's very different. It's very different and it really piques my interest. So I imagine that would also be the same case with your followers as well. Okay? So I highly recommend, especially the fifth audience, it's really a good time to reach out for collaborations, especially now, with the holiday season coming up. You can do so many different things. It helps if you look for accounts who have the same target audience as you. So same niche, similar niche, or complementary niche, okay? And yeah, that brings me to the end of this podcast episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave me a review. Those are 5 features that I have for you. Of course, take your time to understand them, take your time to implement them, take your time to experiment with them and kind of gauge the reactions of your audience. Like I said, all of these features are more about, one, improving your content, the variety of content, and also it builds that relationship with your audience as well. Thank you so much for listening all the way up until here. You can definitely catch me on my other platforms. I'm there on YouTube, The Marketing Nomad. I'm there on Instagram at The Marketing Nomad. I'm there on Skillshare and LinkedIn as Prithvi Madhukar. That's actually my full name. And then I'm there on Etsy as The Marketing Nomad CO. I hope to see you on any or all of my platforms. I'll catch you in my next podcast episode. Bye-bye.